Tomorrow,
We can have game night here tomorrow.
you won't believe this endgame.
Miranda.
Do you know anything about Miranda showing up? Okay, so who's gonna tell her she needs to leave?
Tyler Perry's House of Payne, all new tomorrow at 8 on BET.
All right, House of Payne fans, we actually have our first look at tomorrow night's episode. Season 10, Episode 9, Me Against the World. Now, before breaking down the trailer, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit subscribe as we get closer to 200,000 subscribers. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And hit the bell icon, selecting all. That way you're notified whenever I post new content on the channel. YouTube's notification stuff is broken, and I posted well over 20 videos over the weekend. So make sure you just look at my page to watch any content you may have missed. So the synopsis, we already knew this for a while actually. Family game night at the Paynes is crashed by a surprise guest. Now, a couple of fans speculated a very good theory. What if this surprise guest is Lisa's baby? It took me a minute to say, is it Lisa or Laura? Because, you know, Laura is Calvin's fiance and Lisa is Malik's baby mama. And, you know, in the initial photo, like the one promo photo we got, we saw everybody in the episode at game night like it was a good time. You got Miranda, I think, at the giant notepad. I think she's like drawing something, and I'm like, oh wow, we got CJ, Laura, and Lisa, and Calvin, Malik, Ella. It's like everybody's having a good time. So who is this surprise guest? Is it a returning character we don't know about, or could it just be, you know, Lisa having a baby? But no, based on the promo, it definitely seems like Miranda is the surprise guest who is crashing the party. Now, there's really only about 3 things in this promo, but it's a lot to really break down. The first one being that Ella is telling someone, we don't know who, but someone, that they could have game night at, you know, her place. Basically, her and Curtis's house. But the question is, who is she talking to? Because then we go to the next scene where everybody except Miranda is there. You know, there's laughs, you know, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to get it this time. Everybody's having a good time. But then I think it was Floyd or CJ who opens the door, and Miranda with her hands full of a game night stuff, and then Ella is like, oh, Miranda. So it's like, so I don't know if that's an Ella knowing what's going on, because she did this. Because if you go back to like season 9, Ella for some reason was really pushing for Miranda to, why don't you just have a conversation and with Calvin and tell him how you feel. And it's like, I mean, Miss Ella, I mean, I remember saying this in a lot of my reviews, that in season 9 I felt bad for Calvin because his own mother seemed to be taking Miranda's side over his, you know, like, you know, that's your son, man. I mean, woman. So it's like, I know a lot of fans were saying at the time that, wow, it's kind of messed up, because when, let's say I'm married to somebody, but we have a divorce, at that point, I feel like Calvin, in terms of not just myself, but the whole family, should never speak to them again, you know, unless it has to do, if we have like a child or children together, you know, you know, that's the extent or the limit of the interaction between my ex and my family. But yeah, it definitely felt like, you know, aside from Malik, everybody pretty much treated Miranda like nothing much changed and was rooting for her. So I don't know, again, I don't know who the heck Ella's talking to. Maybe it's like, it could be CJ. I don't know, maybe it's CJ or Floyd, and perhaps Miranda overhears about the game night, because to me, I honestly could not see why Ella would invite Miranda to, you know, family game night like that, especially if she knew that Calvin would be bringing Laura. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. Because then we go over to the last thing to talk about, and that's Calvin in the kitchen with Ella and Floyd asking, so did you know Miranda was coming? And we don't see or hear anybody's response. All we know is the next scene is, well, who's going to be the one to tell her that she needs to leave? So it definitely feels like, I honestly don't want to bash this episode before it comes on, because obviously once I see it, I'll know what's going on. But I would hate if we have regression, because I honestly like Miranda and what they've done with her character in season 10 a hell of a lot more than in season 9. So I guess my theories are this when it comes to Ella. Number one, let's say Miranda just happens to be at Miss Ella's house, dropping off some dishes. Maybe she was babysitting Christian, or maybe she just had to come over there for something random, or maybe she was just there, whatever. And she overhears Ella telling somebody about family game night being at her house. And then she just comes up. She just pops up randomly, like Peppermint Patty at Charlie Brown's for Thanksgiving, because she invited herself. And then it's very awkward. Number two, again, why would Miranda be invited? I honestly don't think Ella would have invited her to family game night, because I'm just thinking family game night seems to be a regular occurrence, and the way that she said, oh, it could be at my house, that means the usual spot isn't available for family game night, so they just opt to have it at, Ella and Curtis's place. So I just feel like Miranda wouldn't get that invite, but I feel like she probably just overheard it. Not to mention, you could also argue maybe Ella did invite Miranda, but didn't know Calvin was bringing Laura, because I would feel some kind of way if Calvin said, hey, I'm bringing Laura, and then Ella decides Miranda should show up anyway. I don't really know. It just seems like one of those things where I just feel like at the end of the episode, based on the preview, they're going to try to make Calvin sound like an asshole, but I don't know. I gotta see the setup. Because the look on everybody's face when Miranda comes through the door, that just lets me know she was not supposed to be there. So either Ella, good-hearted as she is, just invited her, or maybe Miranda over here is like, oh yeah, game night, oh that's going to be great, and she doesn't have the heart to say you ain't coming. Who knows? But either way, I'm kind of excited for the episode. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Me Against the World. I feel like Me Against the World, aside from being the potential name of one of the games, could be either Miranda against the Paynes or Calvin against the world, because I feel like Calvin could be in the right, but then Ella and everybody else will probably make it seem like he's in the wrong, and then Miranda gets to stay and play games. But I think the thing I'm most excited for is to see the dynamic between Miranda and Laura, because in the promo photo, like I said, it seemed like everything is just fine. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting, because I don't think we've seen these two interact on screen since it's been known that, her and Calvin got engaged and whatnot. So I wonder what the dynamic is like. So it seems like there wasn't a lot of off-screen development as I feared. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think Miranda's going to get the boot? Or do you think she's going to be allowed to stay? Or do you think Calvin will say, you know what, I'm just going to leave? Because I feel like when it boils down to it, Ella's the kind of person that will say, well, Calvin, this is mine and your father's roof and house, so you can't tell us who to kick out. So I feel like regardless, Calvin's going to be made to be the bad guy. And I know that there's an upcoming episode about how Miranda does not want their son to be a part of Calvin and Laura's wedding. And I'm like, in that particular episode, I could see a tug of war where I couldn't really say whose side I'm on. But in this episode, the preview alone definitely makes it seem like Miranda just pops up because she knew about it, and Calvin's going to be the bad guy. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens, but I'm excited. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App.